Ku-ring-gai local planning meeting. On behalf of the panel, I recognise the traditional custodians of the land, the Ku-ring-gai people, on whose land we are virtually meeting. The order of business is slightly different having regard to the COVID-19 restrictions. So we're using this conferencing technology over Zoom. It's important to note, though, that any person speaking at the meeting are advised their voice and personal information, including name and address, will be recorded as part of the meeting and made publicly available on Council's website via live stream and on-demand access, except that part of the meeting which is held in closed session after the public session. Accordingly, members of the public should ensure that your address to the panel is respectful and that you use appropriate language and refuse from making any defamatory statements or discriminatory comments. The Council, I am told, does not accept any liability for statements, comments or actions taken by individuals during a meeting connecting to this meeting by conferencing technology, and are reminded that under the Local Government Act, the recording of meetings by a member of the public using any electronic recording device, including a mobile phone or video camera, is not permitted. Any person found recording without the permission of the Council may be expelled from the meeting. It's worth noting that on-demand viewing of each meeting will be available until the holding of the subsequent meeting. Recordings of Ku-ring-gai meetings are copyright protected and cannot be reused or reproduced without approval of the Council. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go now on to the formal part of the business of the meeting. First of all, I have no record of any apologies, although one of the members of the public has not so far attended. But if there's an apology, then we'll deal with that at some stage. But there are no formal apologies at this stage. The panel consists of myself as chair, two expert panel members and a community panel member. And I will ask each of the panel members to introduce themselves to you with a short resume of the personal particulars that are relevant to their sitting on the panel.
Excuse me. Yeah. Could I just say that Chris Drake is here from the public?
Righto, thank you. So there's no apologies. Thank you. I'm noting the attendance of Christine Drake.
Thank you.
I'm just introducing myself. My name is Angus Talbot. I'm the chairman of the panel. My background is in the law, in various facets. More particularly, I was a judge of the Land and Environment Court for 15 years. And I've sit on this panel as chairman. I'm a chair at the Waverley Council panel and the Inner West panel. And I've been in consulting roles in various facets since I retired from the bench. The other panel members can explain who they are. First of all, I'll ask Gerard Derizzi to indicate his introduction, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a town planner with 34 years experience. 15 years has been in local government, of which I held the senior manager's position for 5 years during that time. And for the last 19 years, I've run my own consultancy business. Even as a consultant, I actually represent council in a matter of appeal matters, as well as acting for developers.
Thank you, Gerard. Michael Levy.
Yes, Michael Levy. I'm a qualified town planner with over 30 years experience in local government, state government and the private sector. I'm also a panel member on the Georges River and Ryde Council local planning panels. and I'm a former state member and alternate chair of the Hunter and Central Coast Regional Planning Panel.
Thank you. And the community panel member is Suzanne Jolly.
Yeah.
Suzanne?
So I've been a resident of Ku-ring-gai now for 8 years, living and residing in Wahroonga. Background is environmental planning, which I do in the private sector. So, but happy to represent the community in this panel. I'm also the alternative council member for the Sydney North panel.
Thank you. Now, I formally ask whether any panel member or any member of the staff attending the meeting have a declaration of interest to make in relation to matters before the panel today. Anyone wish to declare an interest?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No declarations of interest from the staff or the panel. Now, so far as the public speaking is concerned, each person who has been registered to speak will be given 3 minutes. There will be a warning at the time that the 3 minutes expires, and you will be expected to wind up there and then, having regard to the fact that there are other speakers and that the panel has to retire and determine its decisions after that. The panels will be heard, the speakers will be first of all from the objectors who have registered. There are no legal representatives, no registration from the applicant. So after we've heard the speakers in relation to the matter before the panel will retire into private session and make its determination, and the determination will be published on the council's website as soon as that is practicable. The only item on the public meeting today is the item relating to the development application in respect of the site 313 Bobbin Head Road, North Turramurra, where there are proposed alterations to the existing service station, which has the benefit of existing use rights. There are 4 speakers listed, and I'll deal with them in order. First of all, Lincoln Chi, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You're ready. Thank you, Mr. Chi. Your 3 minutes will start now. Thank you.
First of all, let me thank the panel for having the opportunity to address you on this issue. These oral submissions are intended to augment the written submissions of my wife, Janice Ha. We are the registered proprietors of 317 Bobbin Head Road in North Turramurra. We share a common boundary with 313 Bobbin Head Road. It is my submission that this area is a residential area. There are residential dwellings to the left of the service station, to the right, and we are at the back of the service station. Families reside in 315, 317, 319 Bobbin Head Road. So it would be my submission that it is a family-focused residential area. Now, in terms of the proximity of the service station to the residential dwellings, the workshop is directly adjacent to 315 Bobbin Head Road, and it is around, I'd say, 10 to 15 metres from the back fence, which abuts my property. Since the service station changed management, we've noticed that there has been an increased frequency in terms of the fumes that have been generated by the garage. We've noticed that there has been an increase to the hours of operation to what was originally occurring with the original owners. And there's been an increase, a corresponding increase to the noise and light. So this often occurs late into the evening. Now, our position is that we would object to extended hours of operation on the basis that it would affect adversely the quiet enjoyment of the residents located nearby. Of course, I accept that the service station has a right to operate, and I do not cavil with that. However, if there is any extension, we would object to the extension of operating hours and also the erection of any structures that might restrict airflow on account of the fumes that are created at the service station. So unless I can assist the panel further, those would be my submissions.
Yes, I'd just like to clarify what you mean by extended hours.
I think it's my understanding that they're seeking to extend the hours of operation into the weekend.
Hours of operation are presently unregulated, it being an existing use. I'm just curious to understand what you believe to be the extension you're talking about. It may be just an expression you're using.
I don't have it in front of me, but I understood that they were seeking to operate until 10 o'clock at night or something along those lines,
Right.
which to me seems quite unusual for a residential area.
I see. All right. Thank you very much for your assistance. I'll just see if there's any questions. Suzanne, have you got any questions at all?
Just one question in terms of the increased, you've noticed a change in fumes being emitted from the property. Is there anything that you see as associated with that activity at the moment? Has any activity changed on the property that you're aware of? I
believe it has changed. The original owners who have operated the service station and have been operating it for many, many, many years, I believe they sold the business, and the new operators have taken a different approach. I have no issue with the original operators. I think the new operators are running it for longer hours and on weekends, which again is something which I think adds to the issues that we have in terms of the fumes and noise and light.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Levy, Mr. Michael Levy, have you got any questions to put to Mr. G?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Lincoln, are there any particular aspects to the operations that are giving rise to these fumes? In that, is it the I guess delivery and filling of the larger tanks? Is it general fuel, or is it servicing of vehicles?
Okay. So, I think there are a number of aspects to that. Often we find that in the morning there will be this, for want of a better term, a fog, where it's quite noticeable that you could smell fumes, and it dissipates over the course of a few hours. There was one specific occasion that I recall where I think an engine blew up or something like that, and there was white smoke that came across into our garden and blanketed the garden for a while. That hadn't previously happened ever with the original operators. Those are just two examples, but they give you a flavour of what has been occurring more recently.
And this morning general fuel, is it associated with any particular activity? Do you see?
We can't quite tell what it is. We don't know what's causing it, but it occurs, and you might wake up one morning and then there's a strong smell of fuel in the air, and it's seeped in over the course of the night or something like that, and that's generally when we notice that occurring.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I had. Thank you for your assistance. Mr. Teresi, have you got anything to put to Mr. Chi?
Mr. Chair, just probably following on. So the actual smoke and stuff, so you don't see that from the servicing the vehicles. You actually think it's the smell of petrol in terms of the fumes?
It could. It's hard to tell. I'm not an expert, but sure. I would it smells a little like you're over a drum of oil. It's that kind of smell that there's something there which you don't immediately notice it, but then in the morning, if you wake up, it's there.
So you don't get it at night or anything like that. It's just in the morning.
I think it occurs during the night or early
Right.
morning, or perhaps I think that's the case. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your assistance, Mr. Chi, and you can be assured the panel will be taking into account the observations that you've made and the answers to the questions. The next person that I invite to speak is William Fazel. Are you there, Mr. Fazel?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're on the phone.
Great, thank you. Hello, panel members. I'm William Fazel. I live at 305 Bobbinhead Road, and I made a submission to this development application. I'll keep my remarks brief and just address a couple of areas. Firstly, in general terms, the service station sits in a quiet residential area, and its boundaries adjoin residences. The service station has been in existence and part of the neighbourhood for many years, and over that time it has maintained a low profile in terms of appearance, noise and trading hours. With the service station avoiding gaudy signage and lighting, and with its predominantly white colour scheme, it fits into the neighbourhood as well as you could expect from a service station surrounded by houses. It is very important to the community that it retains that low profile. The noise factor and the trading hours are linked, of course. Historically, the service station has closed around 6 p.m. for trading. The current proposal to operate to 10 p.m. with a much larger retail space has the potential to adversely impact the neighbouring residents. The assessment report before the panel misrepresents a submission from a resident who does not live close to the station as being a submission from the North Turramurra Action Group, and therefore representative of the community. The North Turramurra Action Group submission, and I believe the majority of submissions from the community, were not in favour of an extension of trading hours, and if so, certainly not to 10 p.m.
Mr. Fazel,
the assessment report.
That's been clarified for us. We recognise that submission was not on part of the committee.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll just conclude by saying the assessment report seems to rely on that one submission as justification for supporting a 10 p.m. finish. The report seems to ignore the majority feedback against the late finished. I certainly recognise that the service station needs to operate, and I recognise that an extension of trading hours would be useful for the owners. Something around 8 p.m. would I would certainly support, and hopefully that would be something that would not adversely impact the neighbourhood too much. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fazel. Any questions for panel members? Mr. Teresi?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just a quick question. You say that the current operation closes at 6 p.m. Is that 7 days a week, or that's just during the week? I'm referring to the previous owners when I say historically, sure. And that the close time was sort of 5-6 p.m. generally. And not later than that.
But was that 7 days a week?
I can't confirm that, but I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Levy?
No, Chairman, no questions.
Ollie?
No questions from me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fazel. Your your observations and answers to questions will certainly be taken into account by the panel when they consider the matter.
Great, thank you.
Maureen Owen is the next person who I invite to speak. Are you there, Ms. Owen? I can see you, but I can't hear you. Are you muted? You need to unmute.
Yeah, I was unmuted, but I got
All right,
muted.
you're here now.
You hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now and see you.
Wonderful. Thank you
So
so
your
much.
your 3 minutes starts from now, Ms. Owen.
Okay,
thank you.
Okay. I'm Maureen Owen. I'm a committee member of the North Turramurra Action Group, and I've been a resident of North Turramurra for 27 years. The purpose of my speaking today is to reiterate that local residents who contacted NTAG regarding the DA for the Bobbin Head Garage are strongly opposed to trading hours beyond 6 p.m. The basis for their objection was that local residents, particularly those who live nearby, would be adversely affected by noise from cars stopping and starting at the garage, from the use of the petrol pumps, accessing the shop. And this was particularly so due to the very quiet nature of Bobbin Head Road in the evening, particularly after dark. The impact of lighting of the garage forecourt and the shop and the advertising signage would also negatively impact residents after dark. They also felt that the garage is on a residential street, and the only other commercial activity in close proximity is the childcare centre on the adjacent corner, and that operates only Monday to Friday and closes at 6 p.m. So it's out of kilter with any other activity in that area of Bobbin Head Road. NTAG would also like to ask why a lot of weight appeared to have been put on the submission from the Spargos. You've already explained that you acknowledge it wasn't NTAG's submission, but NTAG did put in a submission, so we're wondering why that doesn't appear to have been taken into account, why suggestions were based on the Spargos submission, and also the submission from Tony Hallett, who put in a submission to council on the 11th of May. He lives at 309 Bobbin Head Road, and he also objected to the extension of hours beyond 6 p.m. So we're wondering why these don't appear to have been considered. Tony
Hallett's objection is noted.
Good, but not in terms of a recommendation by council that the extension of hours be beyond 6 p.m. So he didn't agree with that, and he lives in very close proximity. So what we're saying is that there were a lot of people opposed to the extent or to trading beyond 6 p.m. But then council chose the one put in by the Spargos, who thought 11 p.m. was okay. It just seems a little bit odd to us. So on behalf of members of NTAG and the local residents who contacted NTAG, we would like council to rescind their recommendation for approval beyond 6 p.m. And that's all I wanted to say. So thank you very much.
I'll just see if there's any questions for
all right, lovely. Thank
Ms.
you.
Owen. I'll just check with Ms. Jolly first of all.
No questions from me. It's pretty clear.
Thanks.
Mr. Teresi?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Levy?
Yes, just a brief one, Mr. Chairman. Maureen, the council's assessment report has considered noise and light impacts, I think irrespective of what was raised in the submissions, and there are a number of conditions that have been included in the recommendation to us. Have you seen those conditions or have concerns with those conditions?
No, but well, obviously if the garage is trading till 11 p.m, there will be noise and there will be light from the garage, which is surrounded by residential properties. And no matter what the conditions are, if it's trading, that will be the case.
The question was whether you've seen the conditions.
No,
all right.
No. But what I'm saying is, no matter what the conditions are, if the garage is trading, there will be noise and light.
Okay. All right. I think that's understood. Thank you.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Owen.
Thank you very much.
Good. The next person registered to speak is Christine Drake. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're slightly off in terms of the screen. That's better. Thank you, Ms. Drake.
Thank you for this opportunity.
And there's a policeman behind you.
Hopefully not to take me away.
All right. Thank you. Your 3 minutes starts now, Ms. Drake. Thank you.
I've been a member of the North Turramurra Action Group for the entire 20-year period it's been representing the residents of North Turramurra. We have had more objections to this extension of trading hours than almost any other issue that's arisen, which is why I'm currently addressing you. The previous service station, to clarify something, was only the previous owners only operated until 6 p.m. weekdays, and Saturdays and Sundays they closed at 3 p.m. So this is a big change, the request that's been made by the current owners. The increased lighting, the increased noise and the increased fumes which are being currently received by adjoining residents are all problems that shouldn't be occurring in a quiet residential neighbourhood where the service station has operated for 70 years without a single complaint. So you can see the difference that this is making to the residents' lives. Also, the additional signage will detract from the iconic nature of that service station, which has been used in so many movies, both Australian and overseas, in TV commercials and in videos. So any changes to the exterior of that service station impacts the entire character of it. Additionally, we don't have any objection to the other proposed items, including the extension of the shop. But we ask that you take into account the majority of the residents and give their representation equal weight, because the majority are opposed to extended trading hours with the lighting and noise. And I believe in this instance, the DA proposed approval should be rescinded and the entire DA should be reassessed with equal weight being given to the residents on the issues of extended hours, lighting and character. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Just see if there's any questions for you. You raised a couple of points there that might. I'll ask the community rep first of all, Suzanne Jolly. Have you got anything, Suzanne, for?
No, that's pretty clear to me. So,
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Teresi? Nothing? That was a shake of the head.
Correct.
Mr. Levy?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Could I say one more thing, please?
Yes.
Okay. That service station is the only one between Pacific Highway and Ku-ring-gai National Park. All of the residents of North Turramurra know where it is because it's been there for 70 years. So there's no point in putting up additional signage because it's not going to increase any of their business or improve the look of the service station. That's it.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your assistance and let me assure you, your observations will be given weight as you ask.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the public part of the meeting. The panel will now...
Mr. Chair.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I believe the applicant is with us.
The applicant is with us. All right. Thank you. Where, who and when?
Fatana. She's referred to Fatana.
Tana, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Mr.
Okay.
Chair, we have Lady Svetana on the line.
Just could I have that name again?
I'll spell it. Tsvetana. I believe known as Tana.
Tana,
Yes.
that one, I can handle that. There were a number of questions that the panel want to have, but first of all, do you want to make a submission? You haven't registered, but I know that there's been an expectation that we will want to speak to you. So perhaps we just deal with the questions. Would that be satisfactory to you?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Mr. Teresi, you were concerned about the canopy and the impact upon a window. Can we deal with that issue?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I guess there's two questions in terms of that concern which I have raised with panel members. That is, I'd like to understand why the actual awning needs to have that clearance of at 4.230 metres, so 4.2 metres, and that leads to the issue that the height of the awning seems to be impacting a number of windows which are facing the street, and the plans don't seem to articulate, in my view, how that roof structure behind that parapet works and what impact that has to those windows. So I'm keen to have some understanding and clarification to that point, those 2 points, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The whole project is really about making the petrol station environmentally friendly and modern. And one of the things we have to do is we have to change the tanks, and as a result, we have to change and install new pumps. And the engineers provided us with some ideas about how it's going to happen. And it means that we have to move the pumps and under the canopy. It means that the petrol tanks entering the site needs to be under the canopy. The current canopy is about 2.9 and in some places, I think 3.1 meters, which is insufficient for the tankers to get under the canopy. So that's one of the things. Another thing is that we have increased the fascia to accommodate the solar panels, which we are planning to include on a canopy, and everything sort of went up. But I guess we can, once we get through the next stage and we'll prepare all the detailed reports, we can negotiate heights and come up just under the window sill. But at this point, it's sort of very hard.
Why is 4.2? Is there something particular about 4.2?
It's the height of the tanks, the height of the truck, the height of the truck entering the site under the canopy. At the moment, trucks cannot pretty much get under the canopy.
Yes, but it's a major increase from 2.9, 3.1 to 4.2. I just we're wondering why it's 4.2 specifically. In other words, would 4 meters be any different?
Sorry?
Would 4 meters be any different?
4 meters.
Height of the truck is 3.7.
Height of the trunk is 3.7, 3.8, and we also need the place for the person to get on the top of the tanks. And all modern petrol stations, if you go around, they all around 4.2, 4.5 meters. The thing is, the petrol station has been done in 1950s, 70s. I don't know when the canopy was created. So it's a bit of, it served for a while, but in present situation, in the future situation, it will be very hard.
So it's not just the height of the vehicle, it's also to allow an operator to get on top. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, can I ask a question on that? But with the tanks being relocated, and you've got 2 new tanks, they're to the side of the buildings. Won't the tankers go to the side of the building?
The filling point will be just between the pumps under the cover. We need to install all the environmental things and its catchments and everything. It will be just under the canopy. So the tanks, the trucks will need to enter under the canopy. The filling point will be between the pumps. At the moment, it's outside of the canopy, and it's not the right thing. And all the modern petrol station under all the new rules, they should have the filling point under the canopy. This is the law, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, it's one thing.
So it's not a situation that the filling point can be relocated. You're saying the filling point has to be under a canopy.
Yes, it has to be. We have employed all the special engineers, and he advised us that it has to be in line. He's done there is a hazard report which I have provided, and under this report, he identified that the filling point has to be under the canopy.
And where's the filling point now?
It sort of sits on the right side of the canopy, just outside. So if it rains and we have to do the checks, it's all done under the sky.
Whenever
it's probably not shown on the plans,
Filling
but
point
it's
is
just
not,
on the right side of the canopy, just outside. It's under the sky.
the new filling point or the old filling point?
Old filling point. The new one will be under the canopy, and there will be the catchment, the spill box under the canopy. There will be special sort of little hills on the. It's like the boundary, so the petrol is not leaked to the street, and it's all environmental requirements. We're trying to make the petrol station not just modern but environmentally friendly. All the rules.
There's a lot of service stations that fill out outside the canopy.
Then they are not doing it.
Not filling, yeah.
Not the filling, the deliveries. We're talking about the deliveries. The actual pumps can be probably outside. I'm not sure, but the filling point has to be under the canopy. So we have been advised by the engineers, and that's what we have proposed.
Which filling point are you talking about? Are you talking about the customer's filling point?
No,
or
not
the
talking
tanker?
about the fuel
Tanker.
tanker. Yes,
tanker.
fuel tanker. Yeah. And obviously the actual pumps should be under the cover because it's for the people. So they don't stand under the sun, they don't fill up the cars under the rain as well. At the moment, the canopy is very small. So if people drive in on the right side of the canopy and it's raining, it's not a good thing.
But then you can always have a smaller, you can still have a larger canopy, but not at the same height if the issue was that you don't have to have that undercover. So I mean, is there any reason why there couldn't be to the side a alternative canopy to deal with the filling point?
Well, in addition to that, while you're thinking about it, the filling is from a hose connected to the tanker. The tanker doesn't have to go under the canopy. If it's adjacent to a filling point under the canopy, it delivers through the hose, doesn't it?
Yes. Can I introduce my husband and he'll explain all the technical, sorry.
Hi, I'm Alexander, Dana's husband.
Thank you. Mr. Teresi is...
Could I just clarify that if you imagine the modern petrol tanker delivering fuel, his dropping point located right in the center of the fuel tanker. So he needs to enter our site and precisely park his dropping point right in the middle of our canopy between our pumps. This way is constantly remaining under the canopy. They can't do any delivery if it rains because the water will enter the filling point and the tanks themselves. So there's a catchment, there's a different facilities involved for recycling. If there's any spill, if there's any water or any droppage, it's all contained into pipes and going through recycling machine at the back of the property. This is all, if you check our paperwork, this is all provided by, I can give you a couple of names of the company we'll possibly be dealing with. If you probably have to spend a little bit more time and study it, but that's how it's done. And this is not something we designed. This is something that's been happening for quite some time, but not with us. Currently, we're using very short petrol tanker, which is blocking the whole property and parks outside under heavy rain. Whenever he spills fuel, it gets on the top and leaks, and that's what's happening. We're trying to prevent it by creating a catchment, by creating a dropping point for the tanker and filling point for us right in the middle of the canopy, sorry.
You made a comment that currently it's done by a smaller tanker. So what size are the tankers going to be coming now to the property?
Well, at the moment we have a diesel tank of 2,200 liters, which is a tiny tanker. We're constantly running out of diesel, and we have to engage delivery company to deliver sometimes twice a week. By putting a bigger tanks underground, we're hoping to get deliveries once a week, maybe even twice, or maybe once in 3 weeks. So current tanker can actually deliver fuel once, not twice, and be done with it.
So it's a semi-trailer tanker, the large tankers coming on. The issue about the standard you said about it has to be covered, is that a desirable, is that actually a standard you must comply with, or is that a desirable outcome?
We can't change that. If you're interested, you can check it yourself, but this is the way it is.
No, the question is, is it something you have to do, or is it a desirable outcome for it to be undercover?
Undercover.
I got no more questions.
Levy?
Yes, just further on that. So when the tanker enters the site, it will stay on the right-hand side of the bowsers, so on the outside of the site.
Yeah.
Okay. So does the height on the inside closest to the shop also need to be that same height?
Effectively, yes.
Well, it can be step, can it?
Would you be taking tankers?
Sorry,
would you be taking tankers between the bowsers and the shop?
But I believe some tankers might have a dropping point on either side of the tanker. So maybe at some point the tanker has to come from the left-hand side of the pumps. So we have to remain the same height. We can't have any steps in the ceiling.
Okay. And another question on a separate point, the changes to expand the shop. There's a new mechanical service area shown, which is relatively narrow, that runs along the back of the service station. What sort of mechanical work are you looking to do in that new area?
Okay,
Sorry.
look, the thing is, you have to understand that this particular DA will be looking just after the petrol station sort of business. The mechanical workshop remains exactly the same as it was before. There will be no increase or reduction to the size. We just increase the size of the shop by using one of the entrances at the front. Mechanical workshop hours, business, everything remains unchanged.
If I could just go back to my question, there's a long, narrow mechanical service area shown on the plans.
Yes,
I'm just wondering what type of mechanical work would you see occurring there?
This just general mechanical repairs, and they have done it in this particular space all the time since the inception.
Is it just a workshop, is it?
Yeah, it's just a mechanical workshop, yes.
So no vehicles need to be serviced near it?
No, everything is done inside and at the back.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, there will be nothing at the front.
I'll just go back through everybody. Ms. Jolly, you got anything further you want to ask?
Just in terms of the operating hours, I think the change in that the operating hours and the reasons for that?
Look, just to reconfirm it, we took over in April last year, and we took the hours of work Jeff Barba's using for a number of years. They didn't really change. He has been working from 6 to 6, Monday to Sunday, including weekends. So we just went with Jeff's working hours because we knew that there was no documentation from the council to confirm, if there's more or less and so on. So we just stayed with these hours, and we are asking for increase in operational hours because we believe that, and the thing is, we believe in some way it was Jeff's decision to run these hours as well in terms of the business. We have been in this place for 1.5 years, and we can see that sometimes during the summer hours, especially, there is a lot of traffic between 6 and 7, sometimes between 7 and 8. The park closes at 8 p.m. All the main shops at the spot, the nearest spot, and the cross sections, they also close at 8 p.m. The petrol station, which runs just that street parallel to ours, I believe it's in Metro Petroleum, they close at 10 p.m. as well. And we sort of had a look around in the area. All sort of smaller petrol stations, they also close around 10 p.m. And this is the reason why we asking to increase hours of work, up to 10 p.m. so we can see the situation and establish whether we it's one thing is, yes, we want to make petrol station sort of better for customers and locals and neighbors, but at the same time, we need to know up to what point in terms of the business we can go and make the service to people. I mean, if it's 7, 8, 9, 10
if it was made to 9 p.m., you can always make an application to extend it. But would you recognise that your business is not likely to be at a peak between 9 and 10?
Yes, we understand, but we need to find out what is the best way of doing it. But we thought we'll ask for longer hours, but we can establish the. We need to stay open to see what happens, and because at the moment we can see a lot of traffic passing us by, and we're like, So we're here, yes, to work with the community, but at the same time, we are the business.
All right. Any further questions from panel members?
Yes, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Easy.
We digressed about the canopy. What I failed to ask was the sill height of the windows to those rooms which are facing the street. What will they be with the proposed awning which you've got at the moment?
I think it's showing 800. The height of the fascia is it what you?
No. What will be the actual sill height of the windows to the bedroom, particularly the middle bedroom, facing the street? Because it appears that you're covering because you're increasing the height of the canopy, those windows will appear to be covered.
The windows will not be covered because it's just the fascia, which will be sort of in a distance, and we need sort of height of the fascia to cover the solar panels as well. Otherwise, they will be visible from the street.
Right. So have you got a cross section or something of that effect to illustrate that point? Did you supply that?
I think we supplied everything, everything the architect gave us, and there should be, I believe, southeast elevation.
Doesn't help, I don't think.
Yeah, it doesn't give us a cross section of the roof behind that.
Okay, I see. I guess I can provide it. Ask the architects.
I just got one final question. Have you seen the conditions of the development approval attached to the report?
What do you mean the condition?
Well, there's an officer's report, and there's attached are a series of conditions relating to the proposal if it was approved. Have you seen those conditions? You haven't.
Waiting for that meeting, and I believe that it will be discussed at the meeting, and after that, the conditions will be given.
Okay. Are you aware there's a condition which actually specifies that there's no servicing of vehicles underneath the carport, the rear carport?
The one at the back?
Yes, that's correct.
No, I haven't seen that condition, and the mechanical workshop has been there for a while, for 40 years, maybe more. I don't know when the carport was created, but it was part of the purchase. And the thing is, we've tried to, look. No, I haven't seen that condition. No.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing further?
Nothing from me.
Thank you for your assistance, Tana.
Yeah.
And that concludes the public section, and the panel will now retire and consider the observations and comments and answers to questions that have been provided at this meeting before it makes its final decision. The meeting is now closed.